I'm here in Bath today with Keith, ordinary guy who writes a letter a day to David Cameron, and Keith has asked us to attend Bath Police Station with him. Keith, why are we here?
Because David Freud and Iain Duncan Smith reintroduced slavery. They've made receiving benefits conditional to absolute obedience to a set of instructions that's drawn up with the job centre. If you refuse to sign a contract with the DWP, then you lose all access to benefits automatically. If for any reason you fail some condition on your contract, then you can be sanctioned and lose all your benefits. So it's forced labour, and that is slavery. There's just no question about it. And now they put slavery back on the statute books. That is illegal.
And the other thing, of course, is the fact that we do know that people are dying as a consequence of these austerity cuts. So I believe that you, like I, also believe that there is a case for Iain Duncan Smith being culpable for manslaughter.
Absolutely. We've worked it out that based on figures for 2011-2012, in which 10,600 people died, if you multiply that figure up, at least 42,000 people have now died because of the austerity measures. And it's got to be much higher than that, because the conditions that the DWP are imposing on people have got much, much stricter. More and more people are being sanctioned.
Right, well, we are now going to make our way into Bath Police Station. We're going to attempt to film as much inside as we humanly can. They'll probably stop us, but that's not going to stop us from trying. But I'm going in with Keith anyway, and we are going to attempt to, well, file that complaint, aren't we?
Yeah.
That is the aim, and we'll get back right to you and report on what happens.
You can blame it back on your tax, and it'll probably you'll get lost. Yeah.
I would like to. Can I give you this? And I would like to try and bring charges against Iain Duncan Smith and Lord Freud for reintroducing slavery into the statute book.
Right. This probably needs somebody else to speak to rather than me. What are you, an organisation?
I'm a journalist and broadcaster, and I'm here with Keith to support his stance on this.
I'm just an individual. I write a letter a day to number 10 Downing Street, and when I saw that they brought out this claimant commitment contract, and that it's enforced that they will deprive them of any benefits if they either don't sign the contract or if they make a mistake in fulfilling the contract. That's depriving them of survival.
Yes.
Yes.
Right.
Is that a problem?
Only because I don't like being...
Oh, you're not. I don't think you're on the film. We are all
The
together.
problem is, if somebody else comes in, I'm not going to know who's to serve next.
True.
Right.
Can we all kind of, if we can get together?
Yeah. Because I want to listen to what you've got to say.
I
and I
understand.
get very distracted by everything that's going on.
Oh,
in
I'm
the
so
background.
sorry.
You were just down the road, weren't you, earlier? I
That's
believe.
right, yeah.
Nigel's been down there with them. He said
Oh,
he's told the inspector.
And we've not come to. We've not come to try and blame the police or anything. As a citizen, you are the only people I can come to bring such a heinous crime to, and it's our government that's doing this. So where do I, as a citizen, come? Oh no, no, it's not picture. It's right on the side there, and you're completely screened.
If anyone takes photos of me at home, I'm the one that's hiding.
No, don't worry, don't worry.
Am I allowed to take pictures in this room? I want to include you.
She doesn't want to be included.
No, just make sure that I'm hidden behind the monitors.
Thank you.
Thank you. No, we've not come to expose any
No, the aim is definitely not to cause any form of trouble whatsoever. It's just simply because of the levels of frustration now that are being reached on this situation, and because Keith lives close, so we said we would come down from London and accompany him just because we feel it's really important to raise awareness to this issue now, because people are actually dying as a consequence of this. So we feel that we have to make a
So
stand.
these are to do with all the new benefit changes.
Right.
That's right. And we know that in between 2011 and 2012, 10,600 people died within 6 weeks of being found fit for work by ATOS.
Okay.
And if you extrapolate that up since then, that figure's got to be somewhere around 42,000 people have died
Okay.
in this country, and they're the most vulnerable people. These are disabled people, people who are ill. I mean, I'm a disabled man myself, and I'm in their process right now, so I'm personally experiencing what's going on here.
Where else do you go to avoid?
Yeah,
Where else?
exactly.
We still live in a democracy in the right.
Yes.
You come to us, you go to the media. That's what I would do anyway.
Well,
Well,
when I thought, I mean, I've been thinking, where do we go with this? Where do we, this is our government that's doing this to us, and you are, I don't have access to law. You are the only portal of access that any individual has, and we need help.
Yeah. I think someone's going to pop down who has a lot more knowledge
Bless
of
you.
this type of law than I do.
Thank you so much.
And hopefully you can sit with them and sort of say what you need to say.
Thank you.
Really
So
appreciate
what have
your
you
help.
guys been doing today? You've been out in the city centre trying to work?
No, we've
No,
just
no,
come
no,
from
just-
London.
we're just-
We've literally just come from London to support Keith, because I'm a fan of Keith's, actually. I've followed his work for a period of time. How many letters have you done now, Keith?
730.
Yeah, to David Cameron,
2 years.
outlining how heinous the entire coalition is. Well, obviously, from my perspective, it's not just the coalition, it's any party that gets in. But this is very much a letter day to David Cameron. So, yeah, so we're here to support
Is
him.
this to do with all the benefits, like the bedroom tax? And
Yes.
Everything.
Yeah. I mean, this particular one is just the latest phase of all they've done, this claimant commitment contract. And it's just horrific.
I do like another session.
Yeah. It's lovely to hear it.
I think, I think so.
And they don't,
More like that's lady to speak up.
I'm not a demonstrative man. I just want justice.
Yeah. If you feel a bit of passion, sometimes you think, I've got to do something.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, we know from history that the moment that people turned away and said that isn't my problem, that's when the most mass injustices have been allowed to take place. So it's brilliant that Keith stands out and puts his, face out there. A lot braver than the majority of people in the country. Yeah.
Really brave.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do. But you feel empowered by doing it, don't you? You sit at home and you think, what can I do? But the moment you start doing things, you feel like you're taking a little bit of power back and a little bit of control, perhaps,
Well,
and do something.
I mean, because I'm disabled, you have an assessment form. It's called the ESA 50, and when that drops through your door, it's terrible, absolutely terrifying. And because I know what they're about is sanctioning people and stopping benefits, and they've targeted the most vulnerable people to make cuts. And I'm one of those people, and so I'm looking to lose my means of survival. And that's just literally petrifying.
Yeah, I like that one.
So the other thing to do is then do something about it.
Whatever it is in life, if you have something, I think if you try and do something about it,
Okay. Do you want me to leave that with you? Or?
it's
Thank you for your help. Thanks.
Well, Keith has just talked to the desk sergeant, and we are now waiting for the inspector to come down and talk with us, and hopefully we can then officially lodge our complaint against Iain Duncan Smith.
It's the way you'd have to do that is via a solicitor and actually put in your complaint to Iain Duncan Smith himself, send it off in writing with all the details of your complaint, and then it would have to be then a legal complaint. Because at the moment, if something's been put into law, then I can't then arrest someone for implementing something that is actually illegal law. The fact that you may disagree with it, that's something that a solicitor could take up, and then it could be argued as to whether it does breach human rights or not, and whether it can be changed. But at the moment, it's not something that I can deal with here. So it would be a case of writing to Iain Duncan Smith, going through your complaint, and then it would be going down a civil legal complaint, because that would be something for the law lords to decide whether something is legal or not. If it's been brought into a statute, it's not something that I can deal with.
So even though it appears to me to read it that this is in violation of the Human Rights Act, that I can't. That's not something I can bring to a police station.
No, because it would be something that would have to be a legal argument, because it's been brought in. The people who brought it in would have looked at the Human Rights Act. They would disagree with your point of view. And unfortunately, with something like that, it would be a legal argument as to whether you're right or whether they're right. It wouldn't be something that I could make a decision on. I couldn't arrest him and say, you're incorrect. It would be a legal argument, and something that could only be done through the courts. It wouldn't be a police matter from that perspective. It would be a legal argument as to whether it's a lawful law or not. And that would be something that, as I say, would be done through the courts, not through the police at this stage.
What about the issue of the 10,600? What about the manslaughter issue? Because that isn't something that they can have covered, is it?
Well,
not possibly.
Well, let's ask you. I mean, between 2011 and 2012, I mean, it's documented that 10,600 people died within 6 weeks of being found fit for work by Atos, and they've refused to release any figures since then because they would be vexatious. I mean, I've tried to bring Bradford police station and try to bring a charge of manslaughter against them, and I still think that exists.
But again, it would be the same argument of Atos would say, we have acted lawfully, we've broken no laws, we've used the legislation that is in place. Again, the fact that you may disagree with the legislation isn't something necessarily that I can deal with. Again, that would be something that would be for legal argument, because you can say these people have died as a result of the ruling of Atos. I don't know because I wasn't there, but I'm guessing that Atos would say we made what we consider to be a fair ruling. I can't judge whether it was or not. I'm obviously not a medical professional, so I have no idea on what basis they made those decisions. So again, that would be something that would be purely for legal argument. Once a decision had been made from that, then maybe something that the police would get involved in. But at this stage, it would be for lawyers basically to make a decision as to whether it's correct or not.
So my next step is to contact a lawyer.
Yes, because if you're going to challenge what has come into law, the only way to do that is via legal means. Because it's not something, because effectively, my job as a police officer is to enforce the law. The fact that you may not agree with the law as it stands doesn't alter the fact that it's my job to enforce it. If you disagree with what is there on the legal statute book, then the way to do that is via a solicitor, is make a complaint, argue that it's either unfair or incorrect and needs changing, and then it would be up to the legal profession to decide whether that's correct or not. It wouldn't be up to me to make a judgment on whether it was correct. As I say, at the moment, Atos have made those decisions. They would say they've made them legally. Because it's the law, I couldn't argue with that. And as I say, not being a medical professional, I wouldn't be able to say, their judgment's incorrect or this shouldn't have been made, because I have no way of knowing that. That's been made by someone who I'm assuming is a medical professional. As to whether it's right or not that they made it, that would be a legal argument, and that would be for solicitors to deal with.
So, because I, as a citizen, have the right to go to the court and be a private prosecution, would that be an inappropriate step to take at this stage, rather than going to a solicitor, or including going to a solicitor?
The problem is you can make a private claim if something is illegal, for instance. The problem is if something is on the statute book and is at, law at the moment, then you can't make a claim against it because it's the law.
Right.
The fact that you may disagree with that law, you can obviously argue your case and try and get the law changed, but at the moment you wouldn't be able to make a claim against it because that is the law of the land.
Thank you.